Hi guys, as you recall, we are busy with analytical geometry, and you'll remember that analytical geometry is all about lines. We already did the distance of a line, the length of a line, we did the gradient of a line, the slope. Now we're going to look at parallel and perpendicular lines. So let's start off with parallel. I'm sure you do understand what parallel means. It's like a train rail. They never meet, they're the same distance apart all the time. Now you can think for yourself, if I show you this line and I show you this line and they're the same distance apart all the time, they've got the same slope or the same direction. In other words, there is the important thing. If two lines are parallel, we show it with little arrows like that, they will never meet, they've got the same direction, the same slope. That means they've got the same gradient, which we already did previously. Gradient is the same, M1. And just something, if lines are parallel, we write AB is parallel to CD. So we do like kind of the little rail trail there, so that we know that means parallel, they're the same distance apart. Good. And as always, the method is important. You'll see the method is much the same as all the previous times. So by now, I'm sure you can just say it like that without even me mentioning it. You draw a sketch very roughly. You assign the values. You remember x1, x2, y1, y2. You write down the formula. Why do we write down a formula? So that we can substitute it, so that we can give the final answer in proper English words. Good. Best way to do is to start with an example. Now here, they've drawn it. I've already drawn the sketch because it's just easier and quicker to save some time. Prove that line AB, and then they give you the coordinates, is parallel to the line CD. Now look at line CD. They gave you an equation for line CD. All you need to do is to prove that line AB is parallel to line CD. Now what do I need for parallel? In the back of my mind, I must do this. In the back of my mind, I must make sure that I know this is my actual question. When they ask me to prove, like previously I said, if you read a word that gives you a formula, you write down the formula. What do I know about parallel lines? I know that their m's are the same. Now, maybe I need the formula for m, we'll see just now. If I look at this equation here, I already have the m. Let me write it down there. Y is equal to 2x minus 2. This is the standard form. Y is equal to mx plus c. So that 2 there represents the gradient. So I can just read off the m. So the 1m I already have. They gave it to me not directly, but they gave it to me in the formula. So do you agree with me? I must just make sure that my formula is always in the standard form. Y is equal to mx plus c. Otherwise, I can't read off the m. But for this line AB, they did not give me the gradient. So I need to write down the formula. Y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. And the minute I see those little xe1, 2s, I need to go and allocate. Let's make this one x1, y1, and let's make this one x2, y2. So if I replace, remember substitute means empty brackets, y2 was 2, minus y1 was 6, x2 was 0, minus x1 was 2. So if I work that out, 2 minus 6 is minus 4 over minus 2, which just gives me 2. The gradient of AB is 2. So now I can see that the gradient that I worked out now and the gradient that they gave me is exactly equal. So, but now I must say gradient 1 is equal to gradient 2, and I can actually say they both equal to 2, and that is why I know line AB is parallel to the line CD. You got it? So make very sure that you understand what they asked. They asked you to prove that the lines are parallel. So you cannot stop just by working out the gradients. You need to tell afterwards. But now, because the gradients are equal, so it's very important that you write that down. Because the gradients are equal, I know now that the lines are parallel. Good. You're going to redo this all on your own without looking at any answer first. All you need to actually remember extra with this is that when lines are parallel, they've got the same direction, their m's are the same. After you've done your own, you can go and check it there, all written out neatly for you. And then the last page shows you exactly what is the final answer. The two lines are now parallel. Good. What are perpendicular lines? If we look at perpendicular, you all know what perpendicular means. One line goes in that direction, another line goes in this direction, and they form an angle of 90 degrees. Now, without me even showing the next slide, you can think for yourself. If a line is going up, we said previously, a line going up, the gradient is a positive. A line going down, it gets less according to the y values, so the gradient is negative. So you need to think for yourself, if I now have a line that is positive gradient and negative, they can't be the same anymore, like the parallel lines. So they have to be different. Now, how different do they need to be? Because they are totally 90 degrees. They are totally perpendicular. We can give this little formula here. We can say M1 times M2 is equal to minus 2. That just means, if I give you an example, if I have minus a half and I have 2 over 1 and I multiply them with one another, it will give me minus 1. So make sure that your one is a minus, your other one is a plus, because only if you multiply plus and a minus with one another, you will get a minus in the end. And because they are totally perpendicular, they are inverses of one another. So if the one is a half, the other one will be 2 over 1. If the one is 3/4, the other one will be 4 over 3. But the one must be a plus and the one must be a minus. So that is a way to check if lines are perpendicular. Good. Again, an example is always the best. I'm only going to do the one part of the example. You can, on your own, go and redo the other part. They ask you there, determine if AB is perpendicular to CD. Now, I know immediately in the back of my mind, they're asking me if M1 times M2 is equal to minus 1. So that is your formula that you need to test. Be very, very careful. If you want to write that down on your question paper where you're going to do the answer, you must make a question mark there. You can't just write that down, because then it is as if you're already giving the answer. I already know that M1 times M2 is equal to minus 1, which is not true at all. You need to go and work out the M's of both lines and then check if they are. So maybe a good thing to do is to write this question on your question paper and not on your answer sheet, so that you know where you are heading. I need to find M's. They did not give me the gradients, so I need to find the gradient of AB, and I need to find the gradient of CD. Let's just do one at a time first. Let's go to AB. I'm quickly going to allocate one x1 and y1, and then this one will be x2 and y2. The same there, x1, y1, x2, y2. You can clearly see we are doing the same thing over and over and over again. That's why I said this is the easiest part of all maths. You should get full marks for analytical geometry. Good, let's do AB. Gradient is, you remember how to, am I right? Gradient. Are we working gradient or length? Aha, we're working gradient, not length. You see what happens immediately when you do your, why does it not want to now rub out? Let's just get it again. So I'm going to take that off as well, because remember that you're going to write on your question sheet. The minute we are doing a formula and we're writing it down, the minute I've drawn that square, I say, gradient, gradient, we're busy with gradient. So make sure that when you write down your formula, you think what you're doing, because we are doing now lots of different small little formulae. Gradient is y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. Now I'm just going to do it next door there. Empty brackets, empty brackets. So let's fill in. If I take line AB, just be careful that you do not get confused now between the two lines. I'm now only busy with line AB. So y2 will be minus 1, y1 will be 2. x2 will be 1, x1 will be minus 5. And if I work that out, minus 1 minus 2 is minus 3. Over 1 plus 5 is 6. So that is actually, I'm just going to write it there, minus 1/2. Just one thing about a fraction. If you've got a fraction minus 1/2, or if you've got a fraction 1 over minus 2, or if you've got a fraction minus 1 over 2, those three things are all exactly the same. The fraction has got a minus sign. But what we prefer to do is to put the minus on the top, Because remember, the top is your numerator, your counter. You are counting with the top. The bottom just tells you what you are working with. So in the end, if we've done a question and we get that minus maybe at the bottom, we just swap it to the top to just make more sense. Good. All right, so that was the gradient of AB. So let's do now the gradient of CD. Gradient of CD, the formula is already there, right on top, so I'm just going to do the empty brackets. And I'm going to fill it in. Now I'm busy with CD. So Y2 is minus 3, minus 3. X2 is minus 4. X1 is minus 1. And if I do that, minus 3 is minus 6. Minus 4 plus 1 is minus 3. And that gives me a plus 2. So now I've got a gradient of minus a half and I've got a gradient of 2. Now I can test that formula of mine. So now I say M1 times M2. You do not write the minus 1 down because you are testing it. You are doing a substitution sum. You are doing a substitution sum. The one was minus a half. The other one was 2. I prefer to always put the 2 over 1 because then I can clearly see it's giving me a minus 1. And the minute it gives me, you write down line AB is perpendicular to line CD. I hope you know this way of writing. You also did it previously. Perpendicular, you just show a little perpendicular. And how did I prove that? I worked out both ends and I checked my formula. Just make very sure that you do not just write down the formula. That little writing down you do on your question paper. Good. So you're going to redo this on your own. Make sure you can do it. All I'll probably do, let's just take all of this off. I'll just write this down. Your question mark is that M1 times M2 must be equal to minus 1. Just be very careful if you write that down, or rather write it on your question sheet. Or write a big question mark next to it so that the teacher knows you are going to try and prove that. Now, there's another part here, line G, H, and EF, which you can also go and try and do on your own. There's the answer of the previous one, just as we've done it. And there's the final answer, that they are perpendicular. So as you see, really easy. You need to know very basic things. Lines are parallel. They've got the same gradient because they've got the same direction. Lines are perpendicular. They are in different directions, and that's why the answer also always needs to be a minus 1. If you multiply them with one another, it's a minus. 1 is because they are totally perpendicular. Good luck by practicing. I'll see you next time.